Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR, the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about a couple different topics. Obviously, we're going to talk about Remington's ammunition. They apparently had a recall on some stuff. And we're also going to discuss a few other things relating to gun stuff, anti-gun, pro-gun, whatnot, but also about douchebags on Twitter and stuff like that, because I had to deal with a bunch of assholes there in the last day or so is what it was. And yeah, it very much was not fun, and had to report the first troll piece of shit on Twitter last night, who was just some leftist fucknut here from Ohio who the one thing, if there's one thing I don't like about the internet, it's the anonymity of people being able to basically shit talk and then never back it up, is what it is, because these are the fucking people legitimately in our society, these leftist assholes like that will sit there and call you, racist, misogynist, homophobic, xenophobic, all that crap like that, or whatever, the old leftist trope is what it is. And yet they would never say that in your fucking face in real life, because they know they get their ass knocked the fuck out, is what it is, dude. And that's the thing, they would literally get a fucking whoosh right in the fucking mouth, and it would be a one blow knockout, is what it would be, dude. And it's the same kind of shit with the Antifa, they want to act like they're all tough and hot shit and everything like that when they're in a fucking giant pack. But then you get these little pussies one-on-one, and you can fucking just take them out very quickly, dude, is what it is. And, we've seen that time and time again in various fights, whether it be Battle for Berkeley, whether it be, various other ones in Portland, Oregon there, or Washington State there, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just them getting their asses beat is what it is, dude. So, anyway, that being said, like I said earlier, you had the Remington Ammo Recall. I'm going to see if I can find that real quick here, because I have a actual thing for it here that I believe is still up on here, but I could be wrong. I might have taken it down by now. I guess maybe we did take it down. Did I take it down or did I not take it down? Hang on, let me check. No, here it is. Okay, so you had, let me go ahead and grab this up, do a screen share real quick of it. So you had Remington, which I believe the ammo manufacturing is now by Vista Outdoors, but I could be wrong about that one. Had a recall, safety recall here, warning, official safety recall notice. Said, do not use Remington 12-gauge primer AccuTip 2 3/4 Sabo slug ammunition with lot numbers, and then it has the 4 there, which you can obviously, I'm going to leave that there for a second. Anybody that wants to pause this and read those numbers can. It said, use of this product may result in firearm discharge and or personal injury. Remington Ammunition has determined that boxes with the referenced lot numbers of Remington Premier AccuTip slugs, PRA-12, may contain shells with an inaccurate propellant. That's not good, man. So it's probably either too much powder or not enough powder, or maybe the slug itself is not what it should be, or whatever the case be. And then it says the lot codes can be found on the inside flap of the individual boxes or along the safety product thing. And obviously, if you pop the box open, it's right there. There's a lot numbers and stuff like that where you can see them. Or if you actually just bought like a whole, case of them is what it is. There's a lot number on the side of what it is there. And then if you, need to call them and get your ammo basically dealt with and stuff like that, there's the 2000 number for it is what it is. This was on the 2nd of this year, by the way, that this came out. So this is 11 days ago this happened. So, yeah, needless to say, this is just another reason why I personally don't use Remington mostly at all anymore, dude. It wasn't a bad ammo when it was owned by Remington and stuff like that, before they were obviously still out of business by, the Sandy Hook families and stuff like that is what it was. And the real problem is, when you don't have people making good ammunition, it's not a good thing at all for anybody, man. Because that's what leads to, bad shoots or bad, injuries and stuff like that is what it ends up being. So anyway, but yeah, so basically you had I heard another one actually. Then last year it was like, I don't know, like July of last year maybe. So it was like summertime, where it was a Facebook post that somebody had made, and it was boxes that they had bought from a Walmart. It was like 270 or 243. I'm not sure which one, caliber wise, but it was one of those two. And they had pulled them out of the box to like check them and stuff like that. And you had the actual shell casing at the very top of it where the bullet seats cracked. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And it was like multiple ones that were in there that were cracked like that. And I'm just like, clearly somebody is not doing a good job when it comes to, safety in that facility, dude. Not doing an actual job of like, inspecting stuff and whatnot. So, because that seems like a big fucking issue when you have like actual cracked shell casings of loaded ammunition going out, and you expect people to use those in their guns, and now their gun fucking blow up on them, or have extractors blow out on them, or have the, like catastrophic malfunction of the gun just like to pieces and stuff like that. So yeah, not good, man. Not good at all is what it is. So yeah, and then of course we got Winchester that, depending on what it is, it's like some of it's good, some of it's bad. Bulk 22 from that company is not great, is what it is. And that's just what I've seen personally across the board. I've seen cracked shell casings and 22 ammo as well on that one, dude. So it is what it is on that. But yeah, I figured I'd bring that up to everybody and stuff like that. Then you had a couple things that I want to talk about here, Ohio related and stuff like that. So you had this particular one. I found out that apparently, because I've been basically going back and forth with this David DeWitt guy on Twitter for the last few days and stuff like that. Maybe the last week or two is what it is. I had no idea he's actually a mainstream media little fucking activist that wants to call himself a journalist in this state. And it's funny because obviously you had this little fuckboy put up this bullshit, which might as well say op-ed on it, which was Ohio's new Republican crybaby caucus, another consequence of gerrymandering. This asswipe wrote this yesterday. I'm not going to read it because it's just a bunch of fucking garbage is what it is. Just basically shit talking the 45 Ohio Republicans. And honestly, this guy's lucky that they're not just grabbing him and beating the fuck out of him at this point, dude. Like, honestly, I could see Derek Marin or Phil Plummer or any of the guys that are in that picture there, especially Scott Wiggum back here behind Derek Marin, the bald-headed dude there with the blue shirt on. I could see Wiggum, because that dude's an ex-military dude. I could see him beating the fuck out of this DeWitt guy real fucking quick, dude. Just grabbing him and just wham! just one-shot knockout, dude. Be like, oh, you want to call me a crybaby, motherfucker? Fight me, kind of thing is what it is. And that's the thing, dude. And that's exactly why mutual combat should be a thing off in states at this point in this country's history. And this is what it is, man. But yeah, it's just a bunch of garbage, dude. And I fucking called that dude out on that shit. I called him out for being a little punk ass bitch that he actually is. And let's see if I can find the particular one here. Sorry, I'm going through a bunch of different ones here. Okay. Yeah, I said this was my response to the guy. Well, actually, this was him talking about that article, and then it was him. And it was me responding back to him. And he said, new editor commentary after a week-long meltdown of moaning, wailing, and gushing, gashing of teeth, crunching of teeth. A new faction of Ohio Republicans capped off their crybaby temper tantrum by revitalizing plans to try to subject all Ohioans to extremist minority rule. It's not extremist when it's a fucking pro-life, pro-2A state, you fucking dickless piece of shit. Maybe you should get the fuck out of Ohio, asshole. Maybe that's what you should be doing, buddy. My response to him was, you, David, are every single reason why so-called MSM journalists should never have freedom of the press ever again. You're just a leftist ass clown activist, nothing more. I would have called him a cunt too, but you can't actually say that on Twitter. So I would have actually called him a fucking cunt, but you can't actually say that on Twitter either, for that matter. So I wish you could, man, because that's true freedom of speech right there is what it is. But anyways. So I'm going to talk about something, though, relating to, where's it at here now? There's a guy named Dave, that went by Dave something or other, in the comment section of Brian Stewart and a couple other state rep stuff. in the last couple of days, and was basically bitching about hate hoaxer Casey Weinstein being like such a good guy and everything like that. And it's like, yeah, keep blowing fucking Democrats, dude, and see how far it gets you is what it is. But anyway, so this guy's falsely claiming that for somehow the Ohio GOP supports rapists in this state, which is an absolute fucking lie and totally slanderous untruth. So, yeah, he said, where's that here now? He said, why does at Ohio GOP love protecting rapists? Rep Casey Weinstein, Ohio really needs good guys on this one. Maybe one of those 22 that made Brian cry. And my response to him is if you think hate hoaxer Casey Weinstein is a good guy, I got a bridge to nowhere to sell you. Also, the only party protecting rapists in Ohio are the Democrats, who have all voted against constitutional carry last year and stand your ground in 2020. Not to mention other legislation that let criminals off the hooks is what it was. And so what did this fucking douchebag come back at me with? So I don't know if he watched the channel one time here, or if he, maybe he was that Larry guy band the other day for all the fuck I know, man. Who the hell knows? But yeah, he responded back to me, and this is what I actually got him on Twitter for now, for hate speech and stuff like that and whatnot, which was, I'm going to guess your poverty, obesity, racism, and being completely delusional is generational. Again, you want to fucking come at me, dude? Fucking come to Canton, Ohio and fucking fight me, bitch. Otherwise, shut the fuck up, douchebag. Because I know you're one of these little Antifa fuckboys that ain't gonna do a goddamn thing. You're a fucking wannabe internet tough guy. You're a little fucking anonymity piece of shit, fucking beta male, pussy ass, fucking cunt ass bitch that ain't gonna do a fucking thing. Is never gonna say that shit to my fucking face, dude, because you know I knock your fucking teeth out with one shot to the fucking dome, motherfucker. And that's the entire point right now. It's these fucking pseudo-ass little bitches, these little leftist fucking beta males that want to sit here and talk shit and act all fucking tough and everything else like that. Or, other things that this fucking Dave guy has done, by the way, that was all against Ohio GOP. And this is why he should be banned from Twitter, by the way. I'm not saying it like this right now, dude. This is the fucking reason why Elon Musk was banning Antifa and shit like that, which I guarantee this Dave guy's probably adjacent to is what it is, dude. If not, that is BLM then for sure. But yeah, you had, these are just some of the other tweets that popped up when I tried to submit my own stuff against the guy and stuff like that. Said, this was one that he'd posted a couple hours ago. It said, someone tell him Ohio GOP whispers racially gerrymandered districts. Yeah, says every motherfucking Democrat who never talks about Democrat gerrymandering every fucking major city in this entire state or this entire country, dude. When you have 11 congressional districts, every single one of them is Democrat run, by the way, in the Columbus, Ohio / Franklin County area. No, fuck you. Shut the hell up, dude. Shut the fuck up completely, Dave. But yeah, he also was actually shit talking First Lady Fran DeWine here, which I'm not even a fan of Fran DeWine, but I'll fucking go to bat for it at this point because it's fucking bullshit, dude. He said, this at the time was a couple hours before that. He said, at Fran DeWine is the mother of the racist pig family trying to destroy Ohio. Another thing you probably should be knocked for. And then that was the one about Ohio GOP protecting rapists and stuff like that. And then you had other stuff like, where's it out here now? Yeah, Brian Stewart is the Nazi sissy bottom for Frank LaRose. Both are horrible fathers of daughters while forcing Ohio children to have their rapist babies. Like, what the fuck is this guy even talking about? And I assume I know what he's talking about. What he's talking about is he's talking about the fucking 10-year-old girl from a couple years ago, which, by the way, the guy who raped her was a fucking illegal alien in this country. Her parent is most likely an illegal alien. She's most likely an illegal alien in this country as well, by that way, for that matter. And the entire point is, yes, we would have allowed abortions in that particular case because of that whole thing, dude. So no, you're just a lying little prick bitch, Dave, is what it is, you fucking douchebag. And that's the problem with these fucking douchebags, dude. They want to sit here and talk shit, but they'll never actually talk about anything else, is what it is, dude. So, or they'll never actually bring any real light to the conversation because they're just a bunch of ass clowns, is what it is, dude, for real. And that's the truth of the matter is at the end of the day. It's them just being a bunch of little bitches, is what it is, dude. They just want to talk a lot of shit with anonymity is what it is, dude. And then, of course, you had him talking about J.D. Vance here. He said, writing a book about your fat, racist, drug addict mom makes you smart. Like, this is all, like, how is this not, like, I don't understand this, dude. How has this dude not been banned from fucking Twitter for hate speech stuff at this point, dude? Like, maybe mine will actually get the ball rolling at this point, dude, because the guy's, like, clearly just going on there and just talking a lot of shit and, like, directly harassing people is what it is, dude, in most cases. Like, you're directly harassing me at this point, dude. So, yeah, it's just fucking nuts, dude. And then there was another one about Matt Getz, pretend you're a teenage girl when you guys negotiate. Yeah, the guy's just a piece of shit in general, dude. This fucking Dave guy's just a fucking asshole is what it is. And there was other ones here. He was talking shit again about State Rep Derek Marin, called Brian Stewart a Nazi baked potato. Other kinds of shit. Like, that's what I'm saying, dude. Like, you have, first of all, and this is the problem with the left, dude. They want to sit there and call everybody else a fucking Nazi because they are little fucking Nazis, is what it is, dude. Legitimately. These leftists that want to fucking talk about everybody else, right wing and centrist and, you know, libertarians and libertarians and Green Party people and stuff like that, dude, being fucking so-called Nazis and shit like that, dude. It's because they're the ones doing actual Nazi shit. They're the ones doing Mengele level fucking experimentation on human beings. They're the ones committing crimes against humanity with the fucking jibbity jabs and shit like that, dude, is what it is. Et cetera, et cetera. And I'm fucking sick and tired of it, dude. I'm gonna call these fucking actual fascist pieces of shit out for it, dude. Because they're the ones who are actual fascists. They're the ones who are actual fucking racist ass fucking wannabe Nazis and shit like that, dude. And they can go fuck themselves, is what it is, dude, for real. And this is exactly why this country needs to balkanize right now. Immediately, you have the left take half the country or less. You have the right take a part of the country as well. And you have everybody else take the center or something like that. We can all fucking chill out for a while and don't have to deal with each other. Or we can simply just have a fucking bloody ass battle, which is going to come to anyway, and fucking get it over with, dude. And that's what it honestly needs to be at this point, dude. It needs to be fucking a balkanization event or a civil war or something else for that matter. We can finally just have it out and fucking have it be done with is what it is, man. But there's two other things I want to talk about in this episode, though, which are both gun-related topics. So you have Illinois' assault weapons ban. Unfortunately, you got places going out of business now and people calling it quits now because FFLs can't deal with the shit because literally 60 to 70% of their inventory is all ARs and AKs and other, you know, so-called assault weapons, even though nobody can actually define an assault weapon because you literally had to have a Democrat Party back in the late 80s / early 90s literally create the term assault weapon back then to then call a bunch of black scary rifles assault weapons and fucking push their bullshit through in the 90s is what it was, dude, with the assault weapons ban in the 1990s is what it was then. And they also used that same bullshit back in the late 80s to do one in California, which is still existing to this day and finally being overturned 40 fucking years later is what it is, dude. Which it should have been overturned like literally 39 years ago. So we're going to go ahead and talk about that one first. And then we're going to talk about New Mexico and why Michelle Lupin Grisham should have been arrested over 4 years ago at this point by sheriffs there. And that's another thing here in Ohio as well, dude. When you have any of the, or any state for that matter, that's pushing any kind of gun bans or magazine bans or anything that's a restriction to the Second Amendment is what it is. It is way past time for cops to get off their fucking fat asses and actually do their damn job and go out there and start arresting these fucking so-called lawmakers, these actual politicians, these people that are supposed to be elected officials, but are clearly not doing the will of the people's actual will because they're attempting to deprive Americans of our constitutional right to keep and bear arms is what it is, dude. And the fact that no sheriff has taken that stand, the fact that no sheriff has gone to Illinois right now to their state house and arrested J.B. Pritzner or any of the fucking yes votes on this shit is a bunch of bullshit entirely, dude. The fact nobody's gone to New Mexico and fucking yanked Michelle Lupin Grisham out of her fucking chair at this point for pushing red flag law crap while literally taking bribes from Moms Man Action and being there having a bunch of those fucking cunts behind her while she's signing the stupid fucking red flag law a few years back now. Is everything wrong with the country, honestly, dude? For real. This is the entire problem right now, dude. It's not only that, but then you have actual, you know, major city cops, like, you know, police chiefs or whatever the case be, that are the personal security of these fucking douchebag governors who will sit there and fucking watch them sign this BS unconstitutional law into place without slapping fucking handcuffs on is what it is, dude. And that's what needs to happen to these people. These fucking governors, these state lawmakers, etc., dude. These federal lawmakers, even for that matter, the ones that all voted for the gun control crap at a federal level there, dude, after Uvalde, they need to be literally having FBI agents, ATF agents, DE agents, DHS agents, all those people like that, dude, descending on Capitol Hill, handcuffs in hand, yanking these fucking people out of office by force at this point, dude. And if they're yanked out kicking and screaming, all the fucking better for this country, dude, because it shows exactly why these fuckers need to be brought up. And in a lot of cases on death penalty charges, what it is, dude. And I'm gonna say it like it is, because they're obviously, like I said before, with deprivation of rights or color of law, when it comes to deprivation of rights or color of law, you have 4 different things for that misdemeanor, which, by the way, when it's a politician doing it, dude, when it's any kind of person that can make a law that restricts other people's rights, it should automatically be up to a low-level felony, the lowest level felony possible in any state. And if it's a federal thing, it should be the lowest level federal felony. That's that be the case, dude. And the thing with deprivation of rights or color of law is it's either 1 year and 1 day, so it's 366 days in jail, and you were never allowed to hold an office ever again. The second offense, depending on severity, is 10 years in prison. You can never hold an office again. The third offense, depending on severity, is life imprisonment. Obviously it goes without saying you can no longer hold office because your life imprisonment is what it is. And the fourth one is death penalty. And honestly, I'm going to say fuck the other three at this point, and we go to that last one. We go to that, single one, which is, and really it should be maybe two. It should be life imprisonment, death penalty. Because especially when you're pushing anti-gun stuff, especially when you're trying to get people killed because you're pushing magazine capacity bans and limitation, everything else like that, you don't need to be alive anymore on this earth. You need to be taken out like the tyrant fucking piece of shit that you are, dude. And it's as simple as that, honestly. It needs to be U.S. military doing military tribunals, and they take these fuckers out once and for all, dude, is what it is. And this is the exact problem that we have not seen yet in this country, dude. And I think it's coming, honestly, dude. I think enough people are sick and tired of all of it that it's coming very quickly is what it is, dude. So, anyway. Going on to the first news story here, which is the one out of Illinois here. Which is, quote-unquote, Illinois assault weapon ban stirs backlash. And as I said in the comment section here earlier, I said, oh, you mean the unconstitutional one? You mean unconstitutional assault weapon ban stirs constitutional backlash? Is that what you're talking about there, mainstream media? Because that's what it sounds like you're talking about right there, mainstream media.
Right now, leaders across the state of Illinois are pushing back on a newly passed ban on assault weapons. That includes many sheriff's departments and state's attorney in the Metro East. 5 on your side's Travis Cummings is live in East St. Louis with the latest on this, Travis.
Yeah, Kelly, some agencies like the St. Clair County Sheriff's Department have only expressed disappointment in this new law, while others say that they will not be on the streets checking for these newly banned assault weapons. Here's what this law consists of. It's going to ban the manufacture, sale, and purchase of assault-style semi-automatic weapons and attachments. Now, those wishing to keep their weapons must register them with the Illinois State Police by January 1st, 2024. Leaders from St. Clair, Greene, Macoupin, and Madison counties, just to name a few, have released similar statements opposing the law, saying it infringes on their duties as well as the people they serve. Sheriff Neil Rothling in Monroe County says he won't be enforcing the law for a couple of reasons. One, that guns are not a big problem in his area, a rural one, and there needs to be more focus on the people committing the crime.
Exactly, the criminals.
I'm not going to sit here and tell people to violate the law. I mean, if you feel like you should register.
So here's the thing. The reason that he said that like that is so that he doesn't get voted out of office or potentially arrested, state level himself is what it would be then. Because if he did tell people like, no, mass non-compliance, they would be like, oh, well, this guy should probably be arrested is what it is, though. Even though they themselves, the ones pushing the shit, should be actually arrested by this fucking guy as a sheriff and his deputies.
Firearms, register your firearms if you want to abide by the law and
abide by the law, unconstitutional law.
But that's not something we're going to proactively go out and look for and enforce at this time until it's litigated in court.
Good for you, Sheriff.
Now, you might be wondering, well, what happens if they don't comply with this law? Well, Governor Pritzker says it goes like this. He put it very easy the other day in a press conference. He says, state police are responsible for enforcing the law. He says if they can't do the job, they'll be off the job. We're live in the Metro East.
Wow.
Travis Cummings 5 on the side.
So what you really have is a billionaire fucking pedophile in J.B. Pritzker who needs to be fucking literally in prison right now for child rape and a bunch of other fucking felony charges at this point, dude. Because we know for a fact this guy's raping kids. He also needs to be in prison for this shit for multiple felonies. And that's what I'm saying, dude. Honestly, Pritzker needs to be made an example of at this point. Him and Gavin Newsom and other fucking, so-called governors like that, which are obviously, only in power right now because of massive voter fraud and shit like that, dude. They need to be the first ones given death penalty sentences. And I guarantee you, the second that shit happens, the second that you see, like, public executions of these motherfuckers, dude, is the second you see everybody else fucking fall in line, every other Democrat and every other rhino and everything else like that, pushing gun control and shit like that, dude, that'll fall in line and be like, oh shit, they're serious now. I choose life imprisonment is what it would be at that point, dude. And that's what I'm saying. It only takes a couple, man. It really only takes a couple. It takes a couple to restore complete law and order in this country. It takes a couple to do what needs to be done to fucking deal with tyranny entirely in this country, dude, is what it is. And you would have the rest of them begging for life imprisonment. Because they know if they don't, they would be the next ones, you know, getting the old axe is what it is, dude. And that's what I'm saying as well, dude. Like the fact that you have this little bitch Pritzker, and I'm actually gonna go ahead and screen share here for a minute as well, because there's a couple other videos on that after the fact of that piece of shit Pritzker, that fat bastard Pritzker right there. All happy as shit, happy as a pig and shit with a fucking bill in his hand there. The problem with this fucking asshole is, dude, when you have this fucking cocksucking motherfucker legitimately doing all kinds of fucking shady shit and then telling people, oh, if you don't want to enforce the fucking BS unconstitutional law that I pushed through, you're not going to have a job anymore. No, I'm just going to arrest your fucking tyrant ass, you motherfucker. And that's what's going to be, and that's what's going to be, dude. And that's just what these sheriffs need to do at this point, dude. That's just what these cops need to do at this point. They need to be descending on the Illinois State House and arresting this motherfucker and arresting every single yes vote on this bullshit unconstitutional crap, dude, is what it is. And that would be the end of it then, if that be the case, dude, because they'd all be in prison then. You would slap them with all kinds of felony charges. You'd slap them with all kinds of tyrannical shit, is what it is, dude. Deprivation of rights, of law, etc., etc. And doing needs to be done at that point. And speaking of people that also need to be slapped with those kind of charges, this was a Cole Noir video, which was out of New Mexico here. And it was basically, you got New Mexico House Bill 50 limits magazine capacity to 9 rounds. Here's how this leads to banning of all guns. Yeah, it's a bunch of shit entirely, dude. It's completely unconstitutional. It's complete garbage. And again, it only takes one or two, dude. It only really takes, honestly, the bitch that's the primary sponsor of this, which is not Michelle Lipton Grisham, which is that dumb bitch in the fucking thing is there. It takes the other woman and Grisham probably to be arrested for this shit to basically be like, nah, fuck you. It ain't happening here, dude. So, anyway.
We are now less than a week away from the legislative session, and a bill being proposed is focusing on banning large-capacity gun magazines.
The owner here at Los Ranchos Gun Shop took us around his store and showed us a variety of products he sells. He tells us that many gun manufacturers will no longer be able to sell their firearms in New Mexico if the law passes.
No shit,
in the
Sherlock.
upcoming 60-day session.
And that's the thing, right? You have them saying straight up, you can't sell the guns here because obviously that doesn't meet magazine capacity. And that's what I'm saying. All they really have to do is arrest this fucking stupid old cunt right here, dude. This anti-gunner who I guarantee is bought and paid for by Michael Bloomberg, Everytown Giffords, etc. The exact same way that fucking Allison Russo took that fat-ass envelope full of cash a couple years ago here in Ohio.
Democrat State Representative Patricia Roybal Caballero will introduce House Bill 50.
Patricia Roybal Caballero. Is this bitch even fucking legal in this country? Or was she the original anchor baby in the 1970s? Is my question on that one, dude. I wouldn't be surprised by either at this point, honestly, dude.
Which aims to ban large-capacity magazines in New Mexico. A large-capacity magazine holds 10 or more rounds.
What a bunch of unconstitutional crap, dude. Just fucking insane, dude. Obviously, you got Colin talking about some stuff. There's other stuff that he mentions in here, and that's what I'm trying to jump past his thing, because I just want to see the actual video part of the thing that I don't know where exactly to find that news station. Now that's why I'm using this particular video then. So
the proposed law. Similarly here, as I'm looking, there would again not be one gun that would be permitted.
Not one gun.
Law.
For more than 40 years, Mark Abramson has been selling firearms to New Mexico's gun owners.
They don't give me keys.
But a new proposed bill could affect the types of guns he's sold for years.
The Smith & Wesson M&P is one of our top selling guns. It just wouldn't be allowed because Smith & Wesson will not make a magazine that only handles 9 rounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we'd be the only state in the union that had that restriction.
So,
well, see, and I think the problem goes back to being, I'm not even going to listen to Colian's thing here or whatever. I'm actually going to see if there's any more of that or not. I don't think there is. I know, I guess there's a little bit more here. So my biggest problem is, and it goes back to, personally, it does go back to the fact that when you actually talk about originally magazine bans and stuff like that in this country, dude, when you had California and New York and stuff like that, limit stuff down to 10 rounds and shit, dude, that's where we should have drawn a line in the sand back in that time, dude. That really was the time period of history to draw a line in the fucking sand, dude, and say, no, fuck that. And that's what these gun companies should have done back then, dude. They should have been like, no, fuck you. We make a 12-round mag for this gun, and we make a 15-round mag for this gun. We're not making some dumbass fucking 10-round mag to comply with your fucking, fruitcake ass fucking bullshit unconstitutional crap here in this state, dude. If you want this gun, you can have this gun. It's going to be fucking 15 rounds. It comes with it. Or you can fuck off. We're not going to sell in your fucking state. That's what they should have done, dude. And that's my biggest problem with the greed of gun manufacturers in this country, dude, is they didn't fucking take that goddamn line in the sand back then, because I guarantee you, if they had come in lockstep, if you had Glock, SIG, Ruger, Taurus, all of them across the board at that time in history, dude, so forth and so on, come together and say, no, we're not selling this shit here with a fucking 10-round mag in it. We're not making fucking 10-round mags here. Fuck off. If they had all put their foot down and stood fucking firm on that shit, dude, there would have been a damn thing that these states could have done about it. They would have been like, well, I guess we're not selling guns here anymore. And then you would have actually had litigation back then. You would have had Heller decisions way the fuck back then is what it would have been, dude, in the 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, etc. there, where, up into the 2000s and stuff like that. And you would have had those already deemed and fought in the courts for the past, X amount of years or whatever the case being. They would have already been deemed unconstitutional, and you would have had them back to square one again. And during that time, you would have had the freedom stuff. You would have had those freedom weeks. You would have had those freedom months, whatever it was, where they could have gone out, the people could have gone out there and bought a bunch of, 30 round, 40 round, 50 round mags, whatever it was. Doesn't matter, honestly, dude, for ARs and stuff like that. Or it could have been, let's go and buy a bunch of 33 round Glock sticks and stuff like that for Glocks and shit, dude. But that's the problem, dude. You didn't have people back then actually growing a pair and fighting the fucking tyranny back then. And that's the problem I hate so much with grandfather clauses and stuff, dude. You have these people, and a lot of them are NRA shells is what it is, dude. I mean, hell, Coley and Nawar used to be NRA shell. So did Cock 45 for that matter. The entire problem is you have those specifically going to Hitcock as an example. That dude really is an old fucking FUD, dude, because he literally sucked the NRA's dick for decades is what it was, because they're paying him a bunch of money. And the biggest problem with that is when you were this old fucking, foot ass motherfucker going out there and, fucking toting the fucking line is what it is for the scumbags like Wayne LaPierre and shit like that, dude, who literally helped write the Hughes Amendment to fuck us all out of full auto in the 1980s, by the way. 1 year after I was born in 1986 was when they pulled the Hughes Amendment bullshit, dude. One of the most unconstitutional things ever passed. And one of the biggest unconstitutional things ever passed in my particular lifetime is what it was, dude. Because the 68 gun control, the 34 NFA, all that stuff like that was way before my time. But literally, one of the first things passed when I was a fucking toddler in this country, dude, was the Hughes Amendment. To fuck me out of the chance to ever have full auto in this country without a tax stamp or anything else like that, dude. It was a bunch of crap entirely. And thank God, 37 years later now, a lot of us are fighting back against it, dude. It's my generation, and it's people a little bit older than me now. They're the ones that are fighting back against this shit, dude. It's a bunch of people that are younger than I am, even that are fighting back against this stuff. You basically have like some Gen Xers, you have my, slight generation of Zennials, you have some Millennials, and you got some Gen Z people all together fighting together for this shit, dude. And fighting back against tyrannical crap right now is what it is. And that's what needs to happen, honestly, dude. It needs to be a multi-generational fight at this point. And that's, like I said, the thing I hate most about grandfather clauses is like our buddy Corey from Texas, Solich Intra Firearms, was talking about the other day, and it was all it does is fuck over future generations of Second Amendment people is what it is, dude. It's like, yeah, it's cool that grandpa had a fucking grandfather clause thing, but dad and grandson can't have shit now. Like, it's a bunch of crap, dude, entirely. That's all it does. It's the same exact shit that they pulled over in the UK, actually, except there they didn't have a grandfather clause. It was like, no, just give up your shit or you don't have anything is what it is, dude. And they disarmed those people. And what do they have now? They have massive knife crime, decades later. They have massive acid attacks all the fucking time in those countries, dude. Because they mass imported fucking cult of Islam followers and stuff like that is what it is, dude. And it's the exact same crap they're trying to pull here in America at a fucking fast pace as well. It's why you have Biden keep importing fucking Afghanis and shit like that, dude. It's why you have literal fucking standing armies in Michigan waving fucking Palestinian flags and shit like that, dude. Which that happened, by the way, yesterday. You had, it was Ann Arbor, Michigan, the state capital area there. Kamala was supposed to go there and talk about something. And you had like 10, 12, 14 fucking Arabic people from Palestine who were waving around fucking Palestinian flags, basically talking about killing Jews and shit like that's what it was, dude, which is totally uncool, by the way. You know, just to make sure that that doesn't pop in the algorithm, I am not personally talking about that stuff. I'm talking about the Palestinians who were in Michigan talking about that kind of stuff. They were the ones talking about, you know, often, you know, the Jays is what it was, dude. And that ain't cool, bro. Mass genocide is not cool at all, dude. No, sir. No good. So, you know, it's exactly why I will fight so hard for the Second Amendment here, dude, because I guarantee you if they ever took our rights away, if they ever took our guns away, it's the first thing our turn up government's going to do, dude. They're going to mass genocide all of us, is what it is, dude. You know, it's called democide for a reason. It's death by government, period. So, yeah, it's just fucking crazy, though, dude. And it's completely psychotic to sit there and allow for any politician to pass anything, dude. It's like, no, you have no fucking rights anymore. And this is why we need to have unmatched qualifications on every seat of power in this country, dude. From the top down, there should be a 20th Amendment right now of auto DQs. And the first thing on the auto DQ is and I'm talking about not only in office, but even running for office. If you're running for office on an anti-gun platform, your campaign is gone, period. End of story, dude. Fuck you. Get the hell out of here. If you are already in office and you have somehow managed to get in there on something before that or whatever the case be before this happened and stuff, and you're pushing for all kinds of anti-gun stuff, dude, guess what? You're fucking done too as well. Your ass is grass. Your ass is gone, dude. You know, your ass is grass and I'm a fucking lawnmower man is what it is, bro. I don't know if anybody ever remembers that one. That was something they used to tell us back in the 1990s when I was a kid, actually. You know, that was one of the things that was always talked about by adults and stuff like that. That were like, oh, you know, you're about to get one, stuff like that kind of thing. But yeah, it's just funny though. But anyway, going back to where the fuck is that now? Yeah, going back to the rest of this video here. Of them trying to ban anything over 10 rounds now and calling it high capacity. Such fucking ridiculousness, dude. So, anyway.
10-round magazine. You can see they're almost the same size if we compare them, yet one is prohibited and the other one would be permitted under this new law.
Abramson says if passed, the law could be problematic.
The fact is that a smaller capacity magazine means that in the middle of, God forbid, a gunfight, you're going to be changing out magazines.
And law-abiding gun owners could be outmatched should they need to protect themselves against a criminal.
You are going to be creating a black market. Criminals already have those guns. They'll be stealing those guns or having them transferred, and they'll be bringing them in here anyway. So it really makes a gunfight unequal.
So if I turn in all of my magazines and everybody else who's law-abiding citizen turns in their magazines, and we only limit ourselves to 8 rounds, who's going to have the high-capacity magazines then? The criminals. This is logic. I'm not saying anything profound.
Yeah, no, it's fucking insane, dude. It's completely psychotic. I don't think there's any more in the thing. I'm just checking, though. No, it looks like he's just going on his own rant there. But yeah, the entire point is, though, it's a bunch of shit, dude. It's a bunch of unconstitutional bullshit entirely. And it's like, you already have criminals right now in America. I have seen video after video in the past, like, 3 to 4 years, dude. And it's multiple fucking gang members, dude, coming up on people, fucking pulling out, you know, whether it be a Glock or some, you know, Glock clone or whatever it is, accepts Glock mags in it. Fucking 50-round drums in the damn things, or 33-round fucking fun sticks is what it is, dude. They don't give a fuck about the law because most of the time they've already committed 2, 3, 4 fucking felonies just to get the damn gun. You know, they've already broken into somebody's house, committed fucking home invasion or, you know, breaking and entering and stuff like that, and then burglarized the place to go fucking find. Sorry, my thing was going on. I don't know if I'm still coming through or not at all, but yeah, my signal's going in and out right now. Okay, there, it's going back a little better now. Nope, it's going down again. Come on, you motherfucker. Okay, now it's saying fairly good again. Okay, there it goes. So yeah, like I was saying though, the entire point is when you've already had these criminals commit, 3-4 felonies just to fucking rob you and stuff like that, dude. They don't give a fuck about the law. So it's like, why should you? And that's why I can't stand when people always use the old terminology of like, oh, law-abiding gun owner. Fuck that, dude. No. I am a armed citizen. I am a peaceable gun owner because I'm a peaceable gun owner until I'm fucking not, dude. And that's the entire point as well. And I think more people need to go by that line is what it is, dude, because that's the whole thing entirely. Most American citizens are peaceable gun owners until we're not. Until you push us to the breaking point that we have to fight fucking tyranny. And I think that's what we're seeing this year, dude. I think that's exactly why we're heading towards the place we're heading towards right now. The Great Depression, the Balkanization, the Civil War, et cetera, dude. The revolution, potentially, is what it is. Because our founding fathers knew. There's a reason why they wrote the document down of our God-given inalienable rights to show, like, hey, if the government ever becomes tyrannical again, this is what you fucking need to do. And it's go to war with them. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen very soon, dude. And honestly, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I have no idea where all the chips are going to fall, dude. Because there's definitely X factors in the whole thing, dude. I think there's definitely some military right now that will fight for the government is what it would be. I think there's a lot of military that would defect is what it is, dude. I think you'd have a lot of current military, especially the ones that, were forced to take jabs and stuff like that. And we're like, fuck you, we're not doing that. We want medical exemptions and stuff like that. They would be the first ones to defect, honestly, to our side, I think is what it is. The other ones that maybe already took the shit, but then we're like, hey, wait, why are we going down my street? Why are we going towards my house? Why are we going towards my family, et cetera, et cetera? Those would be other ones that would defect after the fact as well, I believe is what it is, dude. Because, and I think the biggest thing is, that's why you would never have a platoon or whatever go into their own, home state or whatever, dude. You would always have them go to a different state is what it is. And meanwhile, in their own state, you would have a different platoon, like say it like this. You have some dude in Texas or whatever the case be who's here in Ohio trying to confiscate shit from people like myself, and you got some fucking dude from Ohio going to Texas to confiscate shit from that dude's fucking family is what it is, dude. So forth and so on. And think it won't happen? Look back at Katrina, man. They did it there. Look back at any time that there's been shit recently, dude. Hell, they did it. There actually wasn't that long ago when one of the hurricanes, if I'm not mistaken, after Katrina. It was like 2-3 years ago now. Like Hurricane Harvey or something like that. I think it was maybe 5 years ago that happened then. You had, what was it now? 2020 rioting as well. They were trying to take guns then as well, is what it was. So, yeah, needless to say, it's like, give people an inch, you're going to take a fucking mile, dude, is what it is, Y'all remember Delaney Tarr, that little stupid bitch from David Hogg's crew back in 2018 after the whole Parkland shooting and stuff like that. Went up to the whole March for Our Lives event that was already pre-planned like over a month before the fucking massacre happened, dude. And went on the fucking podium and was all like, you give us that inch, that bump stock ban, we're going to take a mile. And somebody should have walked up and given her a punch in the fucking face. Is what it is. And I mean that seriously, dude. Like, you should have had anybody in that fucking crowd walk up and just deck that bitch, dude, is what it is, and be like, fuck you, cunt. You ain't taking shit here. You fucking little commie kid. And then, of course, you had fucking ass clown Democrats in the last day or two try to propose amendments to some piece of legislation that would lower the voting age to 16 now. And back in 2014, you had Kamala call that same age group a bunch of dumb motherfuckers is what it was, dude. That they were stupid and everything else like that. That's why they need a dormitory. And it's like, she's saying that at a place and sounds like the dumbest fucking cunt possible, by the way. That's interesting because I'm going to talk about that right now. As far as I'm aware, that never made it to his desk. That was one of the ones that they had done. I forget what it was called last year, but it was basically they had amended it in the state house to add a thing because the one firefighter guy that died here in the last like few months or whatever, and it was basically to force another piece of law into it that would up the felony count for drivers that were driving recklessly and stuff like that. And then when they took it to the actual state senate again to amend it and what do you call it now? Like consolidated, essentially is what it is. Every Republican except for Najee Antani voted against it. Only Najee Antani voted for it, and all the Democrats voted with the Republicans, what it was, and it never passed out of that chamber again. So, unless it's a different piece of legislation he signed, I don't know. Maybe it was. Maybe the next executive order. Actually, that's another one too, by the way. I heard in the last couple of days now, DeWine actually signed an executive order here, finally banning TikTok on state social media devices, which is great. So, yeah, fucking awesome. And it'd be interesting to see, how it's going to affect everything now. Like I said for a while, Ohio should have been one of the first states to do that, honestly. Every single state in this country should be banning TikTok off of any kind of government social media device. And I would even go as far as to say even teachers, for that matter, in our state educational system should have it gone off their fucking phones too at that point, dude. Because it's nothing but a spy device is what it is, dude. So, anyway, but yeah, needless to say, to reiterate what we were talking about earlier, though, yeah, you got Grisham and you got the other woman there from New Mexico trying to pull all kinds of unconstitutional shit in that state. Hopefully the people will fight back against that tyranny. Who knows, dude? That's the one thing I will say. We've been winning when it comes to 2A cases anymore, dude. We're winning quite a bit, actually, is what it is. And the problem is it just takes so long for lawsuits to go through. It takes, you can file a lawsuit today and it's going to be like 10 years from now is where it will be before it actually finally goes somewhere. Or in some cases, it's one of those ones where it'll take at least, 3, 4, 5 months or more. And that's the problem right now, dude. We don't have that kind of time to waste is what it is. We need to have that stuff be like a superseded kind of thing where it's like, and this is the problem I hate with the Supreme Court so much, actually, is because they could have sat down legitimately in the last few years now, specifically during Trump's administration, and been like, hey, this is how we're going to do stuff. Here's a set of rules and stuff like that. And basically, it would be very similar to the Bruin decision for that matter. And you would have had them coming forward and being like, hey, if this meets, X, Y, or Z criteria, it's automatically unconstitutional and, thrown out the fucking window, basically. And it basically would be like any kind of AWBs, any kind of other anti-gun shit, red flag laws, all that stuff like that is what it is, dude. And it would have been one of the best times in this country's history. Unfortunately, they didn't do that. They didn't bother to do that stuff, dude. And it pisses me off to this day, honestly. So, anyway. But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at, though, is what it is. And like I said, it's very, very irritating to see that happen. And we will end up seeing some different things go down. It's hard to say when it comes to Ohio anymore, especially with the most recent stuff with the speaker's vote and stuff like that I've talked about in the last week or so. And yeah, I think there's a lot of fuckery going on right now. I would love to be a fly on the wall to the closed door meeting that Derek Merrin had with Jason Stevens the other day. I'll tell you that much, because as far as I'm aware, they're supposed to have a meeting on Wednesday, and it was basically to talk about essentially the speakership itself and how the speaker should not have like ultimate power of what goes from the committees to the floor and who is appointed to committee chairs and stuff like that. It should be like an overall, actual constitutional republic where it's the people that are elected officials choosing as a group of lawmakers. Majority rule, basically, is what it is. And that's how it should be, honestly, is what it is, dude. It's like, nah, like you have, X, Y, and Z people here. Like, this is who should be on the committee. This is who should be, my majority leader. This is who should be like speaker pro tempe and stuff like that is what it is. And if it was done right, it would be so much better off. So I'll tell you one thing. I don't know about Mike Lochik anymore, dude. Like, I've kind of called him out a couple times, but I will reiterate, like, if nothing else, I'm just very disappointed with him voting for Stevens at this point, because he was supposed to be one of the pro 2A guys. He was the dude who was behind Second Amendment preservation stuff. And it's like, bro, like, you're really gonna turn your back like that? And like 2 terms in, like, legitimately, dude, like, you're not even you've been here like a single fucking term, and you just started your second term, dude. You've been here 2 years, buddy, and you're gonna fucking, Benedict Arnold us that fucking quick, potentially? Like, that's fucked up, man. So, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I have no proof that's actual Benedict Arnold shit or whatever the case be. It could be something like Chris Doran them are saying, where it's basically just him like being like, oh, well, I voted for Speaker Stevens because I wanted to have an inroad of how to get pro-2A legislation passed. But it's like, now you just look like a turncoat to 45 people is what it is, dude. And that's what it is, honestly. So, I don't know. I'm hoping that they, right now we got 20 days to get the thing I was talking about yesterday, which was the Ohio Constitutional Protection Act thing on a May ballot. And hopefully that happens, but I don't know how. I think it's something where you have to have like the speaker approve it or something like that, because it's supposed to be like a joint resolution or something. And it would be like that joint resolution that would then become like a ballot initiative or ballot issue is what it would be in May. And of course, going back to Brian Stewart's whole thing there, and that asshole Dave I talked about earlier, bitching and moaning about stuff. You had everybody bitching about like, oh, May voting because that's like the lowest turnout ever for Ohioans and stuff like that, in a non-race year or whatever the case be. It's like, who the fuck cares? Then if you think it's a low turnout, dude, then fucking get off your lazy ass and go fucking talk to a bunch of people and be like, let's go vote. Let's go vote. Let's vote against this. Let's vote for it, whatever the fuck the case be. Again, that's the great thing about being in a constitutional republic, is you have the ability to have fucking freedom of speech to go out there and be like, no, we think this is bullshit because X, Y, and Z. And I'm going to sit here and be like, no, you're a fucking dumbass. And you want to fucking actually change our state constitution and allow us to be fucked out of our gun rights with a fucking 50% plus 1 vote fucking basically minority is what it is, dude. Instead of having a 60%, aka 3/5 majority, is how it needs to be and how it should have been decades ago. So anyway, especially when you, like I said, when you have last November's election cycle where you had 2 different ballot initiatives on that thing. One to stop illegal aliens from voting in our election, the other to stop violent criminals from getting out of prison on low-ass level bail bonds and stuff like that. And both of them passed by over 60% majority, dude. It was like 66.7% or something like that. And I think the other one was like 70% or something pretty close to it is what it was. And it's like, this is how it should be. And what I think is funny is the whole, left-hearted bullshit there is basically them being all like, oh, but you should have to have 70% of the vote to even be elected into office. Then you would have no state reps whatsoever, you dumbasses. Because legitimately, when you look at the actual House races and stuff like that for the state House and for our state Senate as well in the last election cycle, it was anywhere from like 50-ish% of the vote, 51, 52, whatever it was here and there to 48, or it was, like 55 to 45, or in some cases it was like 60 to fucking, 40 and stuff like that. So you would never have anybody break the fucking like 70% threshold, and you would have no representation at all is what it would be. Which, I'm actually cool with that. If you want to have no government at all, I'm fucking cool with this. I'm cool as shit with that, dude. But then we'd actually have to have a mutual agreement that we don't just become a lawless anarchy fucking society is what it is, dude, where everybody just fucking kills each other for whatever the fucking is what it is then. Because I guarantee it would descend to that shit real quick is what it would be, man. But yeah, I'm all for less government. I'm just not for fucking anarchist rule is what it is, dude. Because that's fucking psychotic and insane is what it is. And these are the dumbasses that think they're going to be top dog at the fucking, king of the hill shit is what it is, even though they're going to be the first one at the bottom of the fucking hill as a pile of bones is what it'll be, dude. That's the one thing I do remember from back in, I think it was like 2017, 2018, somewhere in there. You had some Antifa dipshit in Portland, Oregon, talking to some older guy who was on the right-wing side of the protest thing, and they were basically having a conversation. It was semi-civilized is what it was. And you had this Antifa kid trying to explain to the guy about like anarcho-capitalism and stuff like that, like sort of just like anarchy rules kind of thing. And it was very oxymoronic because what you had was this kid basically explaining like, oh yeah, it would be like this, kind of weird like paradise or whatever the case be. And the guy's like, you're just talking about like strongest man wins essentially, buddy. And it's like, dude, you're pretty weak. So, and that's what it is. It's these people that, They want to act like they're tough, but in reality, they're some of the weakest individuals in this entire country is what it is, dude, or this entire earth for that matter. You know, worldwide. Because that's the thing, Antifa is a fucking worldwide terrorist organization. It should be treated as such, dude. It should be on the same level as fucking ISIS at this point. Same thing with BLM for that matter. The fact that they're not being treated as such is absolute bullshit entirely, dude. Because they're the ones that are doing all kinds of fucking terroristic shit is what it is, man. And then they want to sit there and gaslight everybody and be like, no, it was the right-wingers that were doing everything, or it was the fucking middle ground people that were doing everything and stuff like that. And it's like, go fuck off, dude, seriously. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if we could just, honestly, it wouldn't even have to come to bloodshed. If we could just separate for a while, like, you go over there, you go over to California and a few of those lefty states like that on the West Coast, we'll all stay over here on this side of the fucking thing. You can do whatever the fuck you want over there and do all kinds of crazy shit or whatever. We'll be over here fucking having sane and you know, law and order, having sanity and law and order in place and stuff like that, dude. And we'll see which society doesn't crumble in the next 5 years is what it is, man. So, like, and that's all it would take, honestly. It would take legitimately like 5 years and you would have like that movie Doomsday, where you'd have a bunch of fucking people behind a wall that all went full cannibal is what it is, man. And we're eating each other and anybody that came over the fucking walls would be, man. So that's a great movie, by the way. If you've never seen it, there's not like a whole bunch of cannibalism in it, but there's a little bit is what it is. But yeah, it's a great movie. It has a great plot to it, and it's a very good just overall thing. It has what's that chick's name? Rana Mitta, I think that's how I pronounce her name. She was the one that was in the first 2 seasons of The Last Ship, another great series actually on that one. That very much is a great example of what would happen in a post world, very similar to what we saw with the whole, you know, corona lockdown stuff and everything else like that, except in that case, and this is the one thing I realized with Hollywood in the past like 10 years or so, they are definitely priming us when it comes to predictive programming and stuff like that, with various series like that, where it's like, oh, this deadly viral outbreak and stuff like that, except in that case, it wasn't as, you know, deadly and whatever they claimed it was there is what it was, dude, in reality. So, honestly, that one that they, that 80% kill rate one, I think it was Boston University made not long ago of like a corona variation or whatever, that would be the one that would be basically the version from The Last Ship, honestly, dude. So, but anyway. Yeah, I'm just, like I said, I'm just kind of over everything at this point, dude. Seems like every day things just get worse. Every day things just get fucking crazier. I was out the other day getting some stuff done. I got a chiropractor this week and get my back adjusted and everything like usual. Went to a couple of different places, going through a few different towns is what it was. Saw different gas prices and stuff. Dude, I love how the mainstream media is trying to play this shit like, oh, Ohio's gas prices are down. It's like, no, they're not. They're up everywhere around here, dude. They're literally up everywhere around the Canton, Ohio area, dude. Like the cheapest thing I found was like, I think it was like $3.40 or something like that a gallon, or pretty close to it. And then, oh no, sorry, it was $3.35 at one station. It was $3.40 at the other station. And then you had diesel at the one station was $3.85 a gallon, and you had diesel at the other station that was $4.35 a gallon. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, dude. It's like, no wonder inflation's fucking going nuts at this point. Just based on that alone is what it is, man. And again, that goes back to us not being an energy independent nation. If we actually were energy independent, if we were producing our own oil, our own gas, et cetera, dude, you know, manufacture our own steel, being a hub for, you know, building and actual innovation again, we would be a great nation right now. But instead, you've had a bunch of old communist fucking pieces of shit in power for, you know, 40, 50, 60 years in some cases, dragging us fucking down, you know, putting a fucking anchor around our necks the second we're born with massive national debt. And then want to sit there and bitch and moan about like, and this is why we need to send them a fucking $100 billion more over to fucking Ukraine. You got fucking piece of shit, fucking rhino sacks of shit, like that douchebag Joe Wilson from whatever the fuck state he's from, talking about making some dumbass fucking piece of legislation to have a bust of that asshole Zelensky in the fucking U.S. Capitol now. It's like, fuck you, Wilson, you piece of shit. Like, no, if you need to do anything, you need to try that guy with fucking high crimes at this point, buddy. So, You know, I'm sick and tired of that fucking proxy war too, for that matter. All it's doing is fucking America over at the end of the day, dude, and it has been since it fucking started a couple years ago now. Or however long it's been. I know it's been over a year now. It feels like it's a few years now, honestly, at this point. Because again, you know, 2020 felt like about 5 years, honestly, by the time it was said and done with. And then everything else just kind of gone to shit, dude. So, anyway. Yeah, I'm actually going to address this. So the thing is, when you look at the reason why they'll do that stuff when it comes to law enforcement, just do everything across the board, then it's I think a lot of it has to do, especially when you talked about human trafficking unit. When you look at the American Rescue Plan Act, one of the other things that hyperinflate our economy and stuff like that, it has to do with the fact that you have money coming from the federal government, which is actually the U.S. taxpayers, and them just printing money is what it is at the end of the day. And it's people, you know, getting that allotment of cash now, and that's why they're doing, you know, 10, 20 different things and stuff like that. But then they're still raising your taxes on top of that for no reason at all is what it is, even though they should be getting the money from the fucking government is what it is, dude. So, yeah, it's all basically like double, triple taxation on us at this point. And again, I think that's where, I think a lot of that is where the pendulum's going to finally break is what it is, dude. And I'm surprised it hasn't broken already. But, yeah, I think people are just fed up with it, and they're rightfully so to be fed up with it because it's all a bunch of shit at the end of the day. And there's not much more to say about than that, man. You know, I'm just sick of it. I'm getting kind of tired, actually. That's why I'm sort of rambling on in a weird, sort of non-coherent right now is what it is. Or inconsistency coherent is what it is, dude. Yeah, that's another thing. Use it to rebuild parks. So I know a couple years ago, and that's another thing, if you want to talk about that for a minute or so, here in Stark County, they were trying to pass legislation, I think 2 years ago now, or no, 2019, so it'd be 4 years ago now. And that's one thing I was actually talking to people about back then. I was like, no, we need to vote against this stuff, and it was them trying to like redo the park stuff, but it was essentially like geoengineering is what it's called, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And what it really was is it was them trying to like eventually seize people's land so they can make some like fucked up, essentially like full-blown tyrannical state is what it is, dude. Like complete government tyranny. And they would be able to have like all kinds of trails for like small vehicles, like, you know, armored like small Humvees and shit like that, so it would be and whatnot. So thankfully it never went through, but if you notice how there's a lot of roundabouts and stuff like that now, around specifically Canton, Ohio, and other places around the state of Ohio as well, and other states for that matter on top of that, it's because of that whole thing. It's the whole 2030 agenda for geoengineering and stuff. So, but yeah, that's about it though. I might be back later today since we are on at Friday now. I'm back later today for 2A cast. I'm not sure yet. I'm debating right now. I need to get a panel together one of these days and just have some shit done. I'm not sure what's going to go on this weekend with that panel because I know that the YouTube gave the man formerly known as E Honda a channel strike for I think it was COVID misinformation or disinformation or whatever the other day. So I don't know if we're going to go on Rumble or if it's going to be hosted by NEA's channel or what it's going to be at this point. But if I get a panel link, I'll be on a panel. If I don't, it's whatever then. If something happens where it has to be something where it's like, okay, you know, here's the deal. I'll let you guys use my channel, but we're going to have like, we're going to limit to 6 people and stuff like that. That's what it is, dude. And we'll just flip people in and out is what it'll be then throughout the day. So that's the one thing that does piss me off about the free side of this StreamYard thing is you only have a max of 6 people is what it is, and then you can't have any more unless you're paying money. And then you get another 4 people. Is what it is though. But sometimes 6 is good though because you can have like 4 or 5 is what it is then, and you get decent conversations. But then you have like 8, 10 people on a panel, and it's like nobody talks. Everybody's talking over each other. So yeah, it is what it is. But I had a couple things I got to do, and then I got to go to sleep for a while, and I got other things related to some stuff I'm working on right now for the State House and again, depending on what the flux is going to happen here, I'm not sure if it's ever going to get passed for legislation-wise or not, but I'm definitely working on a few things. That is what it is. I got a couple irons in the fire right now, and I'm trying to pull one at a time of them out and, sort of pound them down is what it is. But other than that, that's where we're at for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed this little over an hour episode. Like I said, I'll be back at some point. I'm not sure if it'll be later today or sometime this weekend, or maybe it'll be Monday. Who the hell knows? But if we have a panel this weekend, most likely on Rumble, if that be the case, it'll be, Honda's panel and stuff like that. Mad Market, I always call himself now. Good dude from Colorado. They're fighting tyranny even worse than we are here in Ohio because you got the Mass Shooting Prevention Act, or whatever the fuck it is there. It's basically an AWB there. They're trying to introduce in Colorado now. And of course, you got Democrats controlling their state house, so it's probably going to pass through there is what it is, even though it's unconstitutional, just like fucking Illinois was, dude. And that's another thing too as well. It's like, I'm sorry, like, this is the problem I have right now with all that stuff. It's like, I'm sorry, dude, but like, the second a lawsuit is filed, the fact that it's being filed because this thing is unconstitutional, that immediately should put a indefinite stay on whatever that legislation was. It should be like, no, all your crap that you're trying to push to, ban ARs and AKs and so-called high-capacity magazines, all that stuff like that, dude, it's like, no, fuck you. It's all in a state of a stay right now, and you cannot have any of that crap proceed until this lawsuit is completely over and done with. And anybody that wants to buy any of that stuff can buy it indefinitely until this lawsuit goes all the way through is what it is. So, and if we lived in a just society, that's how it would work, honestly. But unfortunately, we don't. We live in what should be a constitutional republic that's really become a crazy authoritarian oligarchy and sort of been in a republic. And obviously, you have a bunch of leftists want to call it democracy and stuff like that, even though they're fucking morons, don't know a damn thing about democracy. And that's another thing, too. They want to talk about us going and fighting wars about, oh, we're here to spread democracy. And it's like pretty hard to do when you're a constitutional republic, man. You should be, if you're going to spread anything, you should be spreading copies of the U.S. Constitution. Here is how you should function as a government after the fact, bro. Here you go. And they just copy and paste the U.S. Constitution and make it their fucking country's constitution. That is what it is, man. So, anyway. But, yeah, that's pretty much over the day, though. Like I said, I'll be working on a few things, and I'll be doing some other stuff, and hopefully, since it's been, past my birthday now, I'm hopefully going to find a damn screwdriver around this house one of these days. I'm not sure where the fuck they're at this point, dude. I know we have a bunch. I just don't know where the fuck they are is what it is right now. There's a specific one I was trying to find the other day, and I can't find it, so I might just find anyone that would work at this point and put them together then, because I got the TX22 mags. I'm going to try to make them the 5-round extensions on them, and hopefully, it's not going to be too bad this weekend. It'll be maybe a little bit cold or whatever, but maybe not super snowy, hopefully. And I can get out there and at least, fire off both of those and see if they'll function test as 21 rounders then. So, but anyway. And if nothing else, I might go to Rumble one of these days again and try that out again. But the problem is, again, it goes back to being able to, do stuff, because it essentially goes down to a point where you basically are limited to what you can actually do without paying money. And I'm not going to pay money to stream is what it is, dude. So mostly because I don't have the money to do that kind of thing. So anyway, that's where we're at for the day, though. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you all in the next one.